Everybody, welcome to Debonk's podcast. It's Austin joined here with Kevin and Ian. How you guys doing?
Doing well, thank you.
Good. How are you, man?
Oh, I'm doing well. It's been a while. Let's just lead with that. It's been quite a while since we've been able to get on here and treat ourselves and our fans, if you can call it that, to a Broncos themed podcast. We've been running into some weird technical issues and scheduling issues and things like that, but we're finally up and ready to go, and we're really excited because it is a week leading up to the regular season. We're recording this on Tuesday, the 5th, September 5th, leading up to the opening weekend with the Broncos taking on the San Diego Chargers on Monday Night Football, first game of the season. So we're really excited. Glad to have you with us. If you're with us, we're super glad to have you. But there's been a lot of news that has happened. I mean, obviously we've gone through training camp, we've gone through preseason games, we've had a lot of things happen. And before I even lead with some of those things that have happened, why don't I get your guys' opinions, Kevin and Ian? What would you say is the most impactful move or just breaking news story that has happened in terms of the Broncos preseason and training camp time frame? What would you guys say, Ian? Why don't we lead with you?
I'd say Kyle Sloter's not on the practice squad. I was kind of irritated with that one a little bit.
Yeah,
Thought he proved enough that we shouldn't have. Yeah, you cut him and then you immediately. But then Vance Joseph came out and said that he made the choice to not come to the Broncos practice squad and chose the Vikings. And then Sloter said vice versa. It's kind of weird. But I read the whole article earlier yesterday about it. I was a little sick to that because he looked pretty good. I'd say obviously Osweiler coming back.
that's weird.
We joked about it on GroupMe is that was probably the ultimate Labor Day sale. I mean,
Just how cheap we got him.
17.
Instead of 72 million, we gave him at like the what? I don't. What did we
I mean,
sign him for?
what was it? 17 months ago, we were going to give him $15 million.
15 and a
That's
half
what we
million
offered him.
annually.
Yeah. So it was like 60-some million, like 30 guaranteed. So then, almost literally a calendar year later, we're paying him $775,000.
Oh my goodness! Talk about a Labor Day sale, dude.
It's a Labor Day sale, and then obviously the other big news would be T.J. Ward's release. I don't know if it was handled sloppily or anything like that.
There's been rumors, but we don't know for sure, of course.
Obviously he was pissed a little bit. He gets to go to Tampa Bay. No income tax. Can't complain about that.
Yeah.
I was a little depressed to see him go, but I understand why. We got Justin Simmons.
They're,
31. We
business
got Will
decisions,
Parks right
whether
behind
they're
him.
right or wrong, they do got to be made. Um,
They got a couple young legs back there that are Bob Miller talked about it earlier today on NFL.com
yeah,
and said that those two guys, he goes, especially Justin Simmons was really nipping on his toes.
yeah, I get that. And Justin Simmons,
Really
he
behind
looked
him.
good in the preseason, but we'll get to that in just a minute. Kevin, why don't we go to you? What would you say is kind of the biggest? What would you say is the biggest news coming out of Dove Valley this training camp preseason time?
All right. Hey, good to be back. It's been too long. And let me just say thank you to our loyal listeners for
Yeah,
sticking with us. And I just wanted to
thank you.
mention at the top for those who subscribe to the video cast, each one of your podcasters tonight, including myself, are wearing a Broncos ball cap. And we are going to make available throughout the season podcast worn apparel for our fans, and we'll be putting it on our website, I believe, and we'll be accepting bids. So
Yeah,
much more on that during the regular season. So what I would say is, look, there's a lot of roster moves and things are starting to
yeah,
settle down. But
of
rather than
course.
talk about individual players, the thing I really focused on during the offseason and what I feel really good about is the new coaching staff. And
Yeah,
Prince, we got Joe Woods. Every time I hear him speak, I'm impressed with him. I think
yeah, I
that
like
was
him
a
a lot.
great promotion. He's doing some things to tweak that defense. Obviously, TJ Ward is part of that tweaking. But I think some of the things he's doing there, he seems to have a real command of it. So, as much as we all liked Phillips, I think this was a good move. And then Vance Joseph, he really seems to have come into his own. I see him at his press conferences. He seems to come across as confident. I think he's a real strong leader. And then, Mike McCoy. I love the fact that we have him back.
Yeah.
Emmanuel Sanders, the receivers seem to have a little extra step in
Hmm.
the bounce. I think we're going to see a fast-paced offense now that takes advantage of the mile-high thin air and starts to wear down defenses. So I would
Absolutely.
say I would say the coaching staff for me is the biggest offseason news. The fact they've come together so well.
I'm gonna go a different route. Not that I disagree with any of what you guys have said. Ian, you made a couple different points. I don't disagree with any of those things, but I mean, I think the biggest attention the entire time has been put to the quarterback situation and uh, and who was going to win that quarterback competition. And you look at Trevor Simeon and he won last year kind of out of nowhere, and we thought that was just like, okay, A, Paxton Lynch isn't ready, and B, who wants Mark Sanchez, and this year, I mean, he
Yeah.
has an entirely new coaching staff, entirely new situation. Paxton Lynch is moving into his second year. He's Elway's guy, and I think Simeon came into this offseason again as the underdog, and he still ends up winning the job. He still ends up winning the job, and I think that's a testament to just. I mean, he doesn't have quite the physical nature and the physical skills that like Paxton Lynch has, but I think he just grasps the mental side of the game so quickly because he's so intelligent that he knows the playbook inside and out, and he just dissects the play in front of him faster than what Paxton Lynch can do. And I think that's what's giving him this edge. And I think moving into his second year, he's kind of starting to make a name for himself now. I think moving into his second year, Mike McCoy's going to know how to use him a little bit better than Kubiak did, and I think he's going to know how to really let that offense open up a little bit more. With him at the helm. So I think that, I mean, of course, the big moves, signing Brock Osweiler, weirdly enough, and letting T.J. Ward go, and some other moves that have been made. Jamal Charles looked good in the third preseason game when he played. Um, I
Very
do
good.
think
I
I do
thought.
think the biggest move is the fact that Simeon once again came out as an underdog and won the starting quarterback job. Even with Brock Osweiler back, he's still cemented as the starting quarterback for this year. Um, so yeah, I mean, and do you guys think that was the right choice in Trevor Simeon winning that job over Paxton Lynch?
I
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say it was the only choice. Sadly,
Yeah.
everything in life is relative, right? If you're a 5'8" guy and you feel like you're not tall, make sure you're never photographed next to a 6'3" guy. Get in next to the
Right.
five. Get in next to the 5'5" crowd, and suddenly you look like a big man. So Simeon looked great. He seemed to have a grasp of the offense relative to the competition. And
Yeah.
unfortunately,
Yeah.
Paxton Lynch looks like a knucklehead. I don't know if it's maturity with him. He's not putting
Mm.
the effort in. He's not studying hard enough, or he just doesn't have the aptitude. But I'm starting to really worry about him. And I believe that conversations that Elway and his team have had um, are really around the long-term future of Paxton. And I believe the fact that Paxton hurt his shoulder in that final preseason game was a blessing in disguise because that
Mhm.
opened up the opportunity to get Brock in. And you mark my words, that shoulder injury that Paxton has is going to be a lingering injury. I don't.
Mhm.
They're not rushing him.
It's like
They're not rushing him back because everybody on that coaching staff, and I believe the players, feel that if Simeon went down, They have a better chance with Brock than they do with Paxton. So it sounds like I'm writing Paxton off. I'm not. He's 23 years old, a ton of upside physically.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't bet on him right now. I can't tell you it looks good. And I think we're going to have one 6'7" quarterback next year. And it might be Brock. It may not be Paxton. We'll see.
I don't think there's a chance we have both of them next year.
No.
That's for sure.
No. He literally got the same. Paxton got the same injury that Simeon got last year.
Isn't that bizarre? The same injury.
Same one. Literally the same tackle. Same way he landed
Elway
shoulder.
called down to the Greek? You know, the longtime trainer for the Broncos.
Yeah, Greek, yeah.
He's like, he goes, Greek, listen, it looked like that was a bad injury to Paxton's shoulder. You understand what I'm saying? Or bad injury. Let's not rush him back. Okay, let's no rush.
Yeah, you're probably right. Let's eliminate the talk as much as possible.
You know, put him in a sling and then just lock him in the film room for the whole season.
He's got to get the mental side down.
I mean, you have to. The game looks way too fast for him right now.
It does.
It just looks like he's overwhelmed. He just looks overwhelmed. Like because obviously we all got the Game Pass. We were watching the games. It just didn't. I mean, there was definitely times. Obviously, I was looking at Simeon and I was shaking my head. I'm like, man, this is because they were calling us it's a quarterback controversy. I'm like, well, the controversy is that
it's even a controversy.
Either one of them are that good.
Yeah.
Well, listen, I mean, it sounded like I wasn't giving Simeon any props, and that probably isn't fair. I mean, I think he looked solid. You know, I still don't see him as taking us to the Super Bowl, but he's got the mental game down. He seems to be a strong leader. I think the players like him and respect him, and he throws a pretty pass. And the thing about Simeon that I think puts him up with the elite crowd, I mean, is his decision-making is quick. He gets rid of the ball quick. I really like that.
I like that, too. And go ahead, Ian.
Von Miller said something about that today, obviously, in his interview with NFL.com. He said that Trevor Simeon has got a bit of Peyton Manning in him.
Yeah, I heard that too.
He doesn't get rattled. He doesn't get rattled.
Right. And another thing about him is, like, you think about, the game, I think it was, week 2, preseason week 2, where Paxton Lynch started the game, and then Trevor Simeon came in, and it looked like a night and day difference. I mean, just immediately marched him down the field, threw a touchdown pass to D'Angelo Henderson out of the backfield, and then that got called back on a hold, and then he immediately 2 plays later threw another touchdown pass. And it's just like, it's just such a clear answer at this point.
Well, it is, and listen, if he gets hurt, and he may, every quarterback could go down. If he gets hurt, I'm telling you, as I sit here today, I feel 5 times better with Brock going in than Paxton. You guys agree?
It's so crazy how quickly things change.
Oh, I don't even think it's close.
I agree with you. I can't necessarily disagree with you. And Brock has the experience, even though he hasn't had much success outside of Denver. It seems like McCoy. I think McCoy's a genius. I think he's gonna know how to use him. Number one, and number 2, it just seems like Denver's the place for him. If he's gonna have a career that's a successful career, it looks like it's gonna have to be Denver or nowhere. You know what I mean?
And you know who loved Osweiler? Adam Gase. You think Adam Gase knows quarterbacks? Gase loved him. So
yeah, but Gase did sign Jay Cutler, so let's pump the brakes a little bit.
Yeah, he is the quarterback whisperer. That's an interesting side story how Cutler does in Miami.
And Cutler's best year recently was with Adam Gase. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like
you're right.
It's not like Gase would have had a lot of options. It was probably a pretty savvy move to bring in Cutler.
I mean, it was him or Colin Kaepernick, probably.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I would have loved to be a fly on the wall of the Osweiler household for 17 months.
Oh, me too.
Just one fly in the corner, just watching.
Hey,
Like how you go
Losing
from
his
a
mind.
Super Bowl win, then getting this max deal not max deal, but a pretty big deal contract, one of the top paid quarterbacks in the league, and then in a calendar year just go
It's amazing. Hey,
completely.
did
crazy.
you see Osweiler, the interview on Broncos.com yesterday or the day before?
Oh, he said he would have signed up to be the water
For
boy.
$1?
I'm telling
Yeah.
you, the guy looked like he'd just been released from prison. He was giddy. It's like Santa Claus just gave him a present.
He was so humbled.
He was so humbled and so happy. It's like the weight of the world came off his shoulders. He's back home again. He feels safe. He feels secure.
He's around
I
friends.
think
around
he's
friends.
stoked.
He's around friends.
I think he's stoked. And actually, I think a lot of the
he's stoked.
locker room guys welcomed him back. As a matter of fact, which I'm honestly a little bit surprised about, just because of the way he exited. It seems like a lot of the locker room guys were happy to have him back.
Yeah,
because they got to understand it's a business. It's where they're gonna be like, oh well, yeah, we're glad you left, dude. He's like, dude,
but
funny.
it is a
Yeah.
business. But any
It is.
objective viewer would have looked at Brock's decision and said, "You're an idiot, man. Why are you
Yeah.
leaving Denver? It's a stupid.
It was a bad
business
decision on his part. It was a bad decision. I mean, no doubt. I mean, and you look at and it's kind of hard
was.
because you look at Houston and the situation that he was stepping into was very much a similar situation in terms of the way the teams are built. They're built with the pass rush, with an elite defense, and a couple good receivers, and that's kind of it was weird. I think eerily similar in terms of the way the teams are built between Texans and the Broncos, but the Broncos have the history, they have the organizational success, and even with the current structure, they have the success. Now we've seen Houston, they get to the playoffs, and what happens when they get to the playoffs? The only reason they won a game last year is because Oakland was down to the third string quarterback.
Exactly,
Connor Cook.
yeah, and let me just speak to that, Austin. And listen, I know if you guys, regular viewers, think I'm a homer for Elway, and I probably am, but let me just tell you why. Okay,
An understatement.
Elway played. I'm going to give you guys hard, cold facts. Elway played 16 years. 16 years for Denver. 16-year career.
Yeah.
He's been the GM for 6 years. Okay. He's been affiliated with the team for 22 years. The 22 years Elway's been affiliated with the team, the Broncos have been in 7 different Super Bowls. They're averaging a Super Bowl every 3 years with Elway on the payroll. The 10 or 11 years Elway was not part of the team, 99 to 2010, no Super Bowls. So he's taken a team every 3 years on average to a Super Bowl. I'm giving the guy the benefit of the doubt on personnel moves. He's not batting 100, but you got to give him the benefit of the doubt. He's a winner, and all he cares about is winning. And when he wasn't quarterbacking the Broncos or leading the team from the front office, the guy was making $100 million in his car dealerships, right?
Yeah.
He's a winner.
Right.
He knows how to make decisions.
He is a winner.
And that's not to say I'm going to agree with every decision, and to shift gears a little bit, I don't agree with the Ward move. I get the business side of it. I understand the business side of it, and the thinking behind, in the front office of why they were making the move. I understand those things. That doesn't necessarily mean I agree with it. But I do not agree with the way that it was handled. I thought if you're seriously considering letting someone go who's been, as Ward himself said, a faithful and good employee, usually you want to at least keep him in the loop, not let him, hey, sorry, a week before the season starts, see you later, and I think if they were thinking about moving on from Ward to go to Simmons, then that should have been communicated, and they should have said, hey, look, this is what we're trying to do.
All right, a couple.
How can we make this easier? For
hold
you?
on. Here's what I would say to that. We're running a football team, right? So the fact that Ward wasn't told earlier, I don't feel that bad about it. Elway's got to sit there. He's listening to his coaching staff. He didn't know Simmons could have blown out a knee in the 4th preseason game, and guess what? We need Ward. He's not going anywhere. Elway's looking at the rest of the league. What kind of trade value does the guy have? So he's just trying to make the team as good as he can and make smart decisions. And people are going to get over Ward leaving. So will the players. Players get it.
Well, I mean, we'll have to. It's not
Ward
like we have a
landed.
choice.
Ward landed in a great. Well, what I'm saying is they literally will get over it quickly because it's a profession. They understand it. And Ward ended up in a great situation. He's going to make as much money as he did in Denver. And I think it's a business decision, but I also think it's a football move because what Denver decided a year ago was Stewart was their guy. They re-upped his contract, not Ward's. They knew Stewart was going to move from free safety to strong safety. Elway's playing chess, not checkers. He's looking at 2 or 3 years. He knows Stewart is actually better suited for strong safety. So Stewart's going to go to strong safety where he can play in the box. He's great against the run. You've got Simmons, who is 6'2", is probably the most athletic safety in the NFL. He graded out highest in the combine. And Simmons is going to move to free safety, where he is better in pass coverage than either T.J. Ward or Stewart ever were. And I think what really opened the eyes of the Broncos was the fact that Simmons was coming down into the box and actually playing the run really well. And then
I think a big thing was also Jamal Carter getting that undrafted free agent.
Yeah, letting Ward go opened up the roster spot for Jamar Carter. That's how he's on the team. And then Will Parks is obviously in dime packages. So I liked Ward. I love his grit. I like his leadership. And gosh, I'd rather have him on the roster. Yes, I would. But I think it was the right decision. So that's my view.
It was the right move.
I think, and I totally understand. Like those are all valid points, all completely valid points. I've just had his play started to slip. Now when we got him, I mean, from the time that we got him, coverage was never his top thing. He was never like, oh, I'm a top 2 or 3 coverage safety. That was never his thing. But I know you sent me a stat the other day that ranked him in the very bottom of the league in terms of like his coverage, statistically. I think he was like 87th out of like 90 rated or something like that. I don't remember what the stat was, but that stat I think is so weighted one direction because you have Aqib Talib, you have Chris Harris, and you have Bradley Roby. Who else are they going to throw at? Unless they're throwing at running backs out of the backfield that Brandon Marshall or linebackers are going to be covering, they're probably going to be throwing at a safety. And in those situations, that's going to happen. But he's also a stellar tackler. He came away with multiple interceptions. There's one play that I remember specifically where dude caught the ball and he literally just took it out of his hands and got the fumble recovery from that. And I mean, just to say that a guy catches a ball on you does not mean. I mean, we've seen how good their pass defense has been. It's not like there's a weak spot. I mean, putting T.J. Ward in the bottom of our starting secondary in terms of his coverage ability is still very high. And it showed because we weren't seeing. It's not like we started seeing the secondary give up these big plays or seeing the secondary start to slack off. The defense was still the strength. His leadership was still very much a strength. And so though I do understand and I do see and recognize all those points, I decided on let him play out his contract. You still have Simmons and Parks under contract, so you may as well let Ward play out his contract. He's still within his prime as of now, as of this year. He's still within his prime. Let him play out his contract, and then if the decision's made, Simmons is the guy or Parks is the guy, you still have those guys on the roster. Go ahead and make that decision, make that move. If Simmons goes down now, we have an undrafted free agent rookie stepping in.
All right, I'm TJ Warded out. Ian, anything else on him?
On TJ? No. I mean, I know why they did it. I mean, they had the nagging hamstring injury that kept him out all preseason. I know that kind of weighed in. I mean, I think he was going to be ready for
week 1,
Monday Night Football. But
He's playing Miami on Sunday. He's playing in that game.
Guys,
oh yeah, he's definitely playing that game.
let me throw out some names for you. Malik Jackson, Danny Trevathan, Evan Mathis, Brock Osweiler, Julius Thomas, Orlando Franklin, Nojan Marino, Wesley Woodyard, Eric Decker, Zane Beatles, Robert Ayers. At one point, we probably would have liked to keep all these guys. They're all gone. They were replaced successfully. We didn't skip a beat. A lot of these were very smart moves not to re-sign them. Probably top of the list is
Yeah, no, I agree. A lot of those were very smart moves. A lot of those were smart moves.
Doomerville would have
They
been the
didn't always
only
feel
one.
that way at the time. Eric Decker didn't feel that way. But guess what happened?
To be fair, Eric Decker, it's not like he went and failed anywhere else. He had
we got Sanders.
He had 1 year where he was injured, but he didn't go fail somewhere else.
He didn't fail,
still was very
but we brought Sanders in at a much lower salary.
Yeah.
That is probably one of the most genius moves I've ever seen.
Oh,
Julius
Sanders.
Thomas, not re-signing Julius Thomas, genius.
Well, because
Although we still don't have a pass catching tight end.
He's a no. The only one that I think that we have could be Jake Butt, and he's not going to be on the roster.
No Sean Marino. People screaming,
Ever.
we have to bring him back. $4 million is what his cap hit was. We won a Super Bowl the year after we let him go, and he's, we couldn't have foreseen his knee problems. But a lot of times these moves, you just get this visceral reaction when they happen. But in the cold light of day, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But listen, my lasting memory of T.J. Ward is when the Super Bowl he had an interception
on the ball,
and then he jumped on that fumble right in the Super Bowl.
Yes.
Great memories of him. Yeah, fumble recovery.
Yep. I mean, he was productive, very, very, very top end productive his whole time here. Definitely fond memories of that guy.
Didn't he fumble the INT? He fumbled the INT.
No, he caught it.
I don't.
Oh no!
He caught it. Then he fumbled it.
Hold on, guys, real quick. Who brought T.J. Ward to Denver as a free agent? Elway. Who brought Darian Stewart to Denver as a free agent? Elway. Akeem Talib, who brought him in as a free agent? Elway.
Here we go.
Elway.
Chris Harris, who's undrafted free agent. There's your no-fly zone.
Elway.
No, Chris Harris was not Elway. Chris Harris was previous Xanders, I think his name was. What was his name? Previous GM.
Chris Harris.
Quick
trivia. What year did he came in before Elway was GM?
Chris Harris.
Yes, he did.
No, Chris Harris came in 2012.
No, he didn't.
Well, I'm looking it up right now, guys. I have the.
It was 11 at the earliest.
I have the.
Or at the latest.
And 11 was Elway.
I thought it was. Elway came in at the beginning.
Harris came in 2011, Elway's first year.
I knew it was like 12 or 11.
Yeah, and watch Simmons make All-Pro in a couple of years. I think that guy is a good third rounder, right?
Third, yeah. Pretty sure he was third round. So obviously, so we've talked. So those are some of the big things that have happened, obviously. And we have a big name that actually played one game, made the team by the name of Jamal Charles.
Oh, how exciting is that guy?
Oh man,
my boy.
That is good news. That is great news.
Is it possible? Is it possible he's the greatest running?
He's the
most talented running back in NFL history. That guy.
Oh, he could be.
Could be.
5.5 yards a carry. It's insane. It's more than Jim Brown.
It's insane. It's more than Barry Sanders, Jim Brown. Doesn't matter who you're talking about. It's more than all of them.
He's definitely the best Special Olympics player that ever played football.
I heard that.
True.
How crazy is that?
Yeah.
And to see, and like we got the opportunity to see him make those cuts on that knee in that third preseason game, and it looked good.
I got scared when he made that awkward.
I know. I thought he was done.
No ill effects.
By the way, Elway.
When they brought him under the tent, I was like, dude, when they brought him under the tent, I'm like, this career's done. I thought something it was with his head. It wasn't even with the knee.
And it was fine.
And he was like, dude, let me back out there.
They just wanted to be.
He looks good. I mean, he looks good.
I think Elway has assigned a scout to the Special Olympics now, because I think there's probably a lot of talent there.
For that reason. Just because Jamal Charles. Dude, I'm really excited about the dynamic that he's going to bring to this team. He's an excellent pass catcher out of the backfield as well. I mean, so is CJ, but Jamal Charles in open space is just ridiculous. I mean, if he's got even a fraction of what he used to be able to do, he's gonna absolutely tear it up. I think, especially in the open field.
Oh yeah.
Really excited about that.
Khalif Raymond, that was one that
kind of a surprising cut, but
gone.
But I at the same time I kind of expected it because I don't think they were about to let their draft pick and Isaiah McKenzie get loose. So it was going to be one of them. One of them was gone. They were not keeping both of them.
Yeah, IR, little Shane Ray. That
sucks, dude.
Same with Carlos Henderson. He's on IR.
Yeah, dude. But Shane Ray is
how
the big
bad
one,
is your
man.
thumb, dude?
Shane Ray is the big one.
Yeah, Shane Ray is.
He was supposed to come in and replace DeMarcus Ware, and that's just.
But guys, he's only going to miss 6 games.
8.
6.
8.
6. It's 8
no,
games.
Listen to me.
6.
I think it's 8.
Listen to me. Listen. Can you stop saying it for a second? It's 6 games that he has to be out before he can start practicing again. Then it has to be 2 weeks after he starts practicing that he can get into the game.
I just heard Elway interviewed, doing my
weeks.
research. They said they put him on IR because the way the NFL counts the weeks, it's 8 calendar weeks. Of those 8 calendar weeks, 1 week is a bye. And the 8th week, we have a Monday night game. So the NFL calendar ends on Sunday. So
That's cheating.
It's cheating. So it's only 6 games.
That's cheating.
So
that is absolutely cheating.
I did my homework, guys, and Elway did his homework too. That's why they put him on IR. Only 6 games.
You could have led with that instead of just being so cynical about it.
6.
Trying to make it look like we have no idea what we're talking
about. So who's?
You guys should have said why is it only 6?
Who's going to take that spot?
Touche. You're probably right. Yeah, but I mean, Shaq Barrett's gonna be back.
Marcus taking that spot? Yeah, well, yeah. Who's gonna take that DN spot?
I'm thinking. Ooh.
Is it DeMarcus?
DeMarcus Walker.
Is it the rookie? I think it might be the rookie. It might be number 57, dude.
What spot are you guys talking about?
DeMarcus Walker.
Oh.
Second round pick.
Second rounder.
What's the
filling in for Shane Ray?
Oh, you mean who's going to play for Shane Ray there? Yeah.
Yeah. Big.
Well,
gap.
Shane Ray was more. He was outside linebacker. He was taking DeMarcus Ware's spot, which I think Shaq.
Well, that's.
Shaq
I mean,
Barrett's
that's what. Yeah, but that's what. What's his name is? DeMarcus Walker. He's the linebacker.
It's going to be Von Miller and Barrett, and then backed up by Walker and that guy from New Orleans we got. I can't pronounce his name.
There's also Zach Kerr, Kasim Edebali.
The guy. South. Is he from England?
He's
or
from
is he from
Germany.
South Africa? I forget. Is it Germany? Yeah.
Kasim Edebali is from Germany.
I like that guy.
Zach Kerr can play. He play inside and outside in terms of a D end and D or nose. So I mean, I think it's going to be a mix and match for a while.
Did you see that we cut Kyle Packa?
And then we got him back. Yeah, brought him back.
How about Shelby Harris?
It's just like Dallas. Shelby Harris looks good, but it's just like Dallas Cowboys. They had to let Kellen Moore go because they didn't want to let Cooper Rush go, and then they immediately signed him back.
True.
So
hey,
same kind of situation.
Can we do the annual Cody Latimer conversation?
What the hell is happening?
Why is this dude still on a team?
He must have photographs of somebody. He's still on the team.
Oh my goodness. He's got I mean, he looked good in preseason, but he does every
He
year.
always looks good in
Every
preseason.
year.
That's when he looks.
He looks great when it doesn't count.
Oh my goodness. It's so weird that he just
It's literally only because he's the fastest dude on special teams and he can tackle. He should stop being a wide receiver and transition to
He is a
defense.
beast on special teams. Yeah. Why not try him at us?
He's a
Why,
beast.
just try him at strong safety or free
yeah, maybe
safety.
he should play safety.
Something.
Play him
Because
at
he's
free
got
safety.
better hands than most. Yeah.
He should be free safety.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I wouldn't be mad about
He
it.
just doesn't have the route running skills to play in the NFL. Second round. That is just still
That was a
irritates
bust.
me.
Jordan Taylor made the team.
Oh,
Like
Always.
that guy.
that guy is that. I love
He
that.
Back
loves
shoulder
him.
catches, dude.
Trevor Siemian loves
Had a
him.
couple drops. Had a couple drops in the preseason, but man, the guy's nuts.
catch
Specifically
radius.
the last
And
game.
he's
It was
actually-
just the last game he had those drops.
And if you guys didn't know, remember he was our emergency backup quarterback.
I know he was. he was an all-state quarterback
He was
in
all
in high
state
school.
in Texas.
I bet you he's probably number 3 on the depth chart. And Paxton Lynch will be 4. We'll see. I've just completely,
Oh, you are
I have
going
completely gone against
Complete
Paxton Lynch.
sour. Oh, I just want to go back even like 2 or 3 episodes. I just want to go back 2 or 3 episodes and just
No, let's
listen
not.
to you be enamored about it.
Let's not.
No, we should go back to when we had the draft.
Oh, you're
Not
right.
this year, but last year. We were like, oh, dude, this is our
This is
quarterback.
it. This is the guy.
Yeah, this is it. Yeah, Paxton Mitch. Here's our next 7-foot tall dude who can throw
If I'm
passes.
Joe Ellis,
passes,
I just
dude.
go to Elway and I say, look, we love you. You're a great general manager, but I've got one rule: you are never going to draft another quarterback over 6'4". Just not going to happen.
Yeah, exactly. Or no, how about this? How about Elway can't? All right, so he could pick. No, actually, no. All of us say Elway can't pick picks in the first 2 rounds. After 3 to 7, it's all his draft.
Somebody else has got to pick the
1
first
and
2.
2. 1 and 2,
Yeah,
dude.
and you know what?
It's somebody
I-
else.
Head coach picks
Like,
the
is
first
that
2. GM picks the other.
Yeah, either that or they just.
I'd be up for that. Now, I know we were talking about there are some other okay. We've talked about a lot of the guys that are on the team, but that also leaves some openings and some holes in essence for guys who are not on the team. To potentially bring a guy or two in, bring somebody in here and there. And there's a couple of guys that I was looking at, a couple of names that I was looking at. It was a list. It was a list that said like the 10 best or whatever available free agents, and I'm wanting to look at these guys. And Kevin, if you would join me on this, and Ian, will get you as well in just a second. But if you would join me on this, and I just have a couple names to throw out to see what you think. Okay,
All right.
so obviously one of the guys, one of the positions that we were just talking about that doesn't have, legit pass catching threat is tight end, right?
Yeah.
One of the guys that's still available, and I want to know what you guys' opinion on this is. One of the guys still available, had a breakout year 2 seasons ago, is Gary Barnidge, who was on the Cleveland Browns. What would you guys do? What would you guys think of if they brought him on a 1-year deal, to give Trevor Siemian a reliable middle of the field check down kind of a guy?
I wouldn't do it. He's in his 30s. We would possibly risk losing Derby or Howerman. I don't think we're going to keep 4 tight ends. So, yeah, and I like the athleticism and the potential of Howerman and Derby, and even Green. Listen. I just want to see how these guys do in the new offense, and I just think McCoy's going to get better use out of the tight end group So
Yeah,
it's hard.
I hope so.
Yeah. Ask me in 8 weeks, and I may have a different answer to that. But right now, I'm okay with the group we have. Want to see them in the new offense.
Yeah, Ian, what would you say?
Say the question one more time.
So Gary Barnage, we're talking about not having a pass catching tight end. Gary Barnage,
I would go get Gary Barnage
you
right
would
now.
1 year deal.
Yeah. The guy lit it up for Cleveland.
1 year. He had one good year in like 11.
1 year, Cleveland.
He didn't have his last year wasn't bad. It just wasn't as electric as it was the year prior.
2 years ago.
It wasn't bad, but think of how ridiculously off their quarterback room last year. I mean, how many guys did they start last year? I mean, Cody Kessler. I mean, it was Cody Kessler and I think McCown for like 2 games, and like it was just like all over the place.
I don't think.
I mean, you can't get any worse. You can't get any worse. Our best receiving tight end is a blocking tight end in Virgil Green. He's a blocker.
Right.
Well,
He's an offensive lineman.
Yeah. I'm personally
You can't go-
for it.
can't go any
that's
worse.
2 against 1. We're signing him. Moving on. One thing, and I know we've kind of restructured or whatever you want to call it, signed a few guys to our offensive line, but there is a guy. There is a guy who signed. Actually, he signed just prior to last year. He signed a $26.8 million 4-year contract with Minnesota. He's a guard, and they decided to release him just because they're moving a different direction, and I think they're going with kind of a different offensive philosophy. His name's Alex Boone, offensive guard.
I know Alex.
To me, we cut Michael Schofield, probably a good move.
the human turnstile.
But I'm
yeah.
thinking like
good.
you have like guys like Max Garcia holding offensive guard down. And I'm just like, I don't feel comfortable with that. I think Alex Boone is a guy, he's a veteran, he's 30 years old. He's not ridiculously old. 30 years old, still played at a high level, just not for a great offense. Didn't have a lot of threats on the outside and whatnot. I say this is a good guy to get. What do you guys think?
I'm unqualified to answer that one. Ian?
At least you can admit it. Ian, what do you think?
We need any O-line that we can get.
That's true.
I mean, you don't even have to be qualified to answer that question.
You don't even need to be.
I mean, that is offensive line, and now because of injuries, defensive line are big holes. Like huge Trump, huge holes.
Yeah.
Huge.
I don't think.
Especially O-line. The O-line. I still don't. Yeah, we got we got Bowles. We got homeboy from Texas. I mean, from the Cowboys. I don't think there's a drawback to signing him. I don't think there is. I don't think there's a negative side to it because you can get him for fairly cheap right now because of where you're at in the season. You can sign him on a 1-year deal. It's gonna be an upgrade over Max Garcia or whoever the hell ends up starting at that spot. It's gonna be an upgrade.
All right, guys, if we keep talking about offensive guard, our listenership is good.
Yeah. They're already
toast.
gone now. They're talking O-line.
No,
Wow.
You're probably right.
We talking third stream special teams now?
Yeah,
would you like
Somebody
to
just lynching themselves in the background.
I think it's an important thing to touch on, but we got to limit our time there on that Garcia story. By the way, how do you pronounce his name? Austin Matt Paradis?
Paradis.
So he's back, thank goodness, right?
Yes.
He is.
Yep.
I knew he was hurt in the off season, but yeah. And it looks like McGovern's. Sorry, I just said get off the offensive line, but
yeah, I was like, what is this?
Sorry,
What
but
is this?
I think we've got some depth there too, and I think McGovern acquitted himself pretty well at center when Paradis was out. So.
I mean, definitely for a fill-in. I certainly want him for the whole season, but we have a game. Let's talk about it. We have a game on Monday. That's happening. Monday Night Football coming up. We have a game. against San Diego Chargers. What are your thoughts? Let's go.
Well, Denver's playing at home. Thank goodness. With a
Yes, that is
new
good.
coaching staff, new offensive system. Boy, it's going to be great. We got lucky. The game's at home. I think we're generally unbeatable at home, right? I mean, our best home record in the NFL over the last X number of years. And I
Yeah.
think San Diego, they got a new coach too. A lot of turnover there. I think San Diego is probably certainly, I think the weakest team in the West. So
Yeah.
I think we win that game. We're favored by 3.5, but I'd be very surprised if we don't win by at least a touchdown. And I love our defense. I think San Diego is going to have a hard time scoring more than 10 points.
Oh,
It's
I disagree with that one just slightly. Because this is the most healthy we've seen the now LA Chargers in a long time. Last year when we played the Chargers, they beat us one time. We beat them one time. They were out some pretty significant offensive
Keenan
players.
Allen for one.
Now, Keenan Allen's back, and they're talking about Mike Williams, their
You mean Tyrell Williams?
their rookie. No, Mike Williams.
Okay, because I know they got Tyrell
Rookie.
Williams.
The guy. They got Tyrell Williams. They got Mike Williams, the guy that got drafted in the top 10
Oh yeah,
in
you're
this
right.
year's draft. Coming back. So Hunter Henry, he's still a
Antonio
beast.
Gates
He
and
was rookie last
Philip
year.
Rivers is a hard guy to ever completely count out.
That's who we should have signed. I love that guy, dude. You're not supposed to love anybody in your own division, but I like him. He's a competitor, and I think what was the stat lost the most games by 3 to 5 points than any other team.
Man.
Like the last.
I'm telling you
10 years.
but he's just good enough to break your heart. That guy, what has he really done? What has he done in San Diego? He put up some flashy stats, but he hasn't won anything.
No, he hasn't. That's because we're there.
Well,
True.
there's always somebody there. There's always somebody getting in his way. He's been there for 12 years.
Yeah.
You got to remember in his heyday when it was him and Danny and Tomlinson and Antonio Gates, they ran the AFC West. They just couldn't get past the Patriots.
Yeah, for a couple of years there.
Yeah, for a good 5 years.
So Ian,
they
are you?
were
What are
always
you
the
predicting
top.
here? Are you predicting a win?
I'm definitely projecting a win. I'm just saying it's not going to be like a rollover win. I say it's like it is always with the Chargers. It's going to be a close game.
It's
I say I 24-21.
24-21. Okay, so I'm not.
Yeah.
So we're not gonna do a game by game breakdown of the season or anything, but I want to get my feelers out there, if you know what I mean. I want to feel the pulse of my co-hosts here. What do you guys feel like is a realistic? What do you guys thinking is gonna happen this year for the Broncos? Are we talking? What kind of record are you thinking? You think they make the playoffs, miss the playoffs? What do you think?
I have zero confidence in my ability to predict this year because
It's the too early prediction, but let's do it anyway.
Listen, if I'm just going to play it safe, if I was going to bet money on the Broncos, I think the over/under in terms of victories is 9. So I think they're going to win between 7 and 11 games, and 9 it would probably be my prediction. So they're going to need the ball to bounce their way. They're going to need to remain relatively injury free. If they do, I think they sneak 10 wins, and maybe we get a wild card. That's what I see.
Yeah. What about you, Ian?
Me? I'm firmly think, honestly, with the structure we got going on now, that we could win 11, be 11-5. The Chiefs have regressed. Their offense has regressed due to injury. Scared about the Raiders.
Yeah, they're the scary one, man.
They're scary, but their defense is still garbage. Other than
Their
Khalil Mack.
secondary is.
Their secondary is just completely. It's just paperweight.
Yeah. Paperweight.
So I think we could. It's just it's like paper mache. There's just holes everywhere. Yeah. I think that we could win the division, but if we didn't, the Raiders. I'm not scared of LA. I'm not scared of Kansas City this year like we were the last couple of years. I'd say we go 11-5, barring injury, obviously, and we take the AFC West.
Yeah, I'm in the same ballpark as you guys. I'm thinking 10-6. I'm thinking 10-6 and potentially a wild card. Um, Oakland's gotten better, not worse, and that's scary.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, because they got Marshawn Lynch.
they got beast mode. They got a couple pieces on defense. I mean, again, their defense is still nothing special outside of Khalil Mack, but they didn't get worse on defense, that's for sure, and they won a lot of games last year. And their offense is going to be better. So I'm thinking wild card. Hopefully wild card. Obviously, it depends on how other things play out for other teams. But I'm thinking 10-6 is what I'm thinking is realistic. I think Simeon takes a step forward in his development.
I agree with that.
I think Jamal Charles is gonna add a little bit of a spark on offense as well. So I think we'll pick up a win, maybe two. Maybe we get to 11-5. That'd be awesome. But 10-6 is kind of my prediction for the.
Yeah, and the great thing about the Broncos, and it's a super talented roster, right?
Yeah.
And we have a winning culture, and if Simeon steps it up, like I think he will, with the new offensive staff, I mean, this could be a Super Bowl team. That's the great thing about being a Broncos fan.
It could be. The potential is there. Yeah.
It is there. Hey, by the way, this is a baseball headline. I just caught this. This is a great story. Did you guys see that the Boston Red Sox were busted using Apple Watches to steal signs against the Yankees?
I did see that.
You did?
See that.
Oh, I didn't see that. I did not.
I love this story.
How the hell did they do that?
I just saw the headline. I love this story. It's Red Sox Yankees, and this is fantastic. And I'm thinking that Bill Belichick must be consulting with the Red Sox, right? He's in the same town.
Yeah, it's Beantown. You got to keep it in. Yeah, you got to keep it in within Beantown.
Yeah,
that's weird. I wonder how they're actually stealing signs.
How do you figure that out?
That means the Mariners needs to get some Apple Watch.
Right.
It says the Yankees.
Those bums.
The Yankees, who had long been suspicious of the Red Sox stealing catcher signs in Fenway Park, contended the video showed a member of the Red Sox training staff looking at his Apple Watch in the dugout and then relaying a message to players who may have been able to use the information to know what type of pitch was going to be thrown. Bah, 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 bah. But anyway, there you go. Technology to win baseball games.
Wow, that doesn't even make sense. How are you gonna relay that information to somebody in the batter's box waiting for a pitch?
Major League Baseball investigated it, and I think they've concluded that the Red Sox were doing it.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
What are they gonna say? They'll be like, hey, I think Aroldis Chapman's gonna throw another 100-mile-per-hour fastball. It's like, I mean, really?
It don't matter.
Like, yeah, like look on the Apple Watch. It's just like, oh god.
Oh, dude.
They're baseball wants to implode itself.
What'd you say?
Like it wants to implode itself. Like everybody's, PEDs. It's everybody's cheating. It's like, ugh.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
Baseball is
Then again, there's just as much people using performance-enhancing drugs in the NFL as there is in MLB.
Yeah, watch Giancarlo Stanton hit that 61st home run, and they're gonna be testing his pee for a year straight every day. What did you do? It's like, I'm talented. I gotta hit a dime-size thing on a baseball that's coming at me 100 miles per hour. I don't care what drugs you take to hit that ball out of the ballpark. That just takes skill anyways.
Yeah.
Nah, you're just driving it farther. I mean, I love PED baseball. It's the best sport on the planet.
Let's not go too far down that rabbit trail.
I want to see 600-foot home runs.
Well, are you saying you like performance-enhancing drugs, Ian?
In baseball, yes.
Listen,
Football, no.
I believe they ought to be able to take a syringe right to the batter's box. So if they go down
I think
if
so
they
too.
go down 0-2 in the count, the player ought to be able to step out of the batter's box, inject himself in the thigh, and then get right back in there.
Yeah.
I'm telling you,
Exactly.
As long as you have a proper way to dispose of the syringe,
yeah, that's
you
right.
should be okay.
That's right. I'm telling you, baseball would set record
Looking like a flop house.
record attendance if they let that happen, just in plain view.
I know.
It'd be record attendance. Plus, it's the only sport where you still have to hit the ball. I don't care how big or strong you are.
You still have to hit the ball.
If you can't hit the ball, it ain't going nowhere.
Yeah,
Football,
they'll
you
have to
do
move,
that.
they'll
Yeah,
have to
you
move
can.
the
You
fence
can.
about 40 feet back, though.
I almost said it. They should make it a prerequisite. Like as soon as you sign the contract, they hand you a bag of needles.
So
It's part of the contract.
yeah,
Hey, have you,
instead of,
have you
Yeah,
injected
yeah.
today, man? What are you doing?
and then
Come
and
on,
then when
man.
they do the press conference, instead of holding up the New Jersey, they just hold up the bag, in front of the cameras.
The bag of drugs.
Guys, I might.
It's like what they.
Oh, go ahead, Ian.
I was gonna say. I was gonna say it's like what they did with the Tour de France. Like, when what's his name?
Lance
Tour de France
Armstrong.
guy. Lance Armstrong. So it was like Lance Armstrong got tested for PEDs. They found out that everybody else was juicing too.
Of course, he had no choice.
So everybody was on the same playing field. It's like our roided out guy beat your roided out guy.
That's right. So was he really cheating? He was just
No.
leveling the playing field for himself.
Yeah. That's exactly what he did. He should have not had those medals stripped from him.
I love that
Oh.
guy. That's a great way to end the podcast, guys. I'm gonna have to
Yeah,
jump off.
Yeah, let's get out of here. Hey, obviously, we'll be watching on Monday. We'll be
Oh yeah,
watching
was
on
it
Monday.
10:30? 10:30, right? 10:30 our time.
Oh man, it's a late one. 10:30, really?
No, I don't think it's 10.
Yeah, dude.
I think it's 8.
Yeah, it's 8 your time.
Yeah, because there's
so
two
it's
games.
a doubleheader. It's a doubleheader Monday night.
It's a double
that's
header.
right.
We're the last one.
Yeah, that's right.
We're the
You're
last
right.
one.
Well, I look forward to it. It's gonna be a good night. Hopefully,
Me
hopefully
too.
we got good news coming out of that Monday night game, including a W and no injuries. That's the goal.
If not, the listeners will know.
Oh, they'll know regardless. We
They'll be
will
like,
bitch
you know what?
regardless.
We're not tuning in. Oh, if we win 50-0, we're still gonna bitch about some hook
Something.
route that didn't go right.
Talking about the flag on Garrett Bowles. Oh, how could he still be holding?
Oh yeah. Oh, what? Because he threw him on the ground? Yeah, we'll lose our mind over this
Anyways,
crap.
thank you guys for joining us. From Ian, from Kevin, from myself. This has been D Bronx Podcast. We'll talk to you next week.